The Client section is accessed by clicking on the Clients button on the navigation bar. In the Client section, we can create clients. For that, we click on the New button on the toolbar and enter all the customer data. It's important to pay attention to the data entered, especially the contact data, and more specifically the email address, since it's used in different functions, such as sending work orders. Here we can also see a checkbox to create a guest login for the client. This functionality is explained in more detail in the corresponding section. Once it has been entered, we click on the Save button on the toolbar and the client not only will be saved, but also selected and their file will be shown opened. To manage a client, we must first select it and open their file. To select a client, we have three options. One is to create it, as we just saw. Two is to find an existing customer. For that, we click on the search bar in the toolbar, enter the criteria, and then select the client out of the list. And finally, we can open the customer file from the calendar. For this, we click on a task associated to the client in question, and then we click on File. This way, the platform redirects us to the client section and not only opens the file of that client, but also shows us the specific task in the first row of the task record. Once a client has been selected, we can see their data by clicking on the View Data checkbox, and we can manage it through the buttons on the toolbar. We can edit the data by clicking on Edit, changing the data that we want to change and then clicking on Save. We can generate reports by clicking on the Print button on the toolbar. We can choose between a report that shows only the data on the task record or a report with the data on a specific additional field. To generate them, we just select them and then click on Generate. We can add attachments without linking them to a particular task by clicking on the New Attachment button and then selecting the file. We can add custom files through the Paint button. This tool is very intuitive. If, for example, we need to fill in or sign a PDF file, we can choose between different tools, a brush, an eraser, and writing text. We can choose the size of the tool and the color. We can also upload a background by clicking on the Upload Background button and then choosing a file. We can empty everything that we have added through the Empty button, and to save the document, we simply add name and then click on Save. The file will be saved in the Attachment section, which we will discuss in further detail in the corresponding training section. And finally, we can also add new tasks through the New Task button. This pop-up is simpler than the one in the Calendar section because it does not give the option to choose a client since it's already selected. To add a new task, we need to add a date, the start and end dates, the executive will be selected, a description of the task, we need to select a process and an activity, and then click on Save. I must mention that this is the only way to add tasks in past date and times. In addition, we can at any time choose to create a new client as well as find a specific client. and the file that is opened will simply close and the new one will be opened.